pedophiles are clearly a big political problem for Donald Trump, but this saga is about so much more than him. At its core, this is a moral issue about justice for the survivors and holding those involved to account, something that is easily lost, too often lost in the back and forth about the political side. So here's what our next guest has to say about that.
When did pedophilia become a partisan issue? The American people deserve to know the whole truth about Jeffrey Epstein and every single powerful person who enabled him. Every name, every flight log, every cover-up, all of it. The White House and congressional Republicans are hiding the Epstein files. Why? These are the same politicians who call librarians groomers, who call their political opponents pedophiles. And to be clear, if there is a Democrat on that list, I will be the first to call for their prosecution.
Thank you.
Because if there's one thing we should all be able to agree on, Democrats and Republicans, conservatives and progressives, it's that no one, including the President of the United States, should be able to cover up crimes against children.
Joining me now is James Tallarico, Democratic candidate for the U.S. Senate in Texas. I played that you have a way of kind of cutting through the BS, which I don't think everybody does. You talk about this a little bit differently than a lot of people I've heard talk about it. And some of the points you made in there is that it's about the survivors. It's about holding anyone that was involved to account, regardless of their political affiliation. And I said this last night, if there are Democrats in there, by all means, they should be investigated too. Tell me why it was important to you to make those points that you just did.
Well, before I was a politician, I was a public school teacher, and a lot of the work I've done in the state legislature is focused on helping students like the ones I've taught in San Antonio and kids just like them all over the state. And so this scandal, this issue with Jeffrey Epstein and his human trafficking of children in this country and around the world, it makes me sick to my stomach. And I feel like we've got to get to the bottom of this pedophile ring. We have to know who enabled it, who supported it, and who covered it up. And that should be a lot bigger than party. It should be a lot bigger than partisan politics. This is not about right versus left. This is right versus wrong. And I hope that we get all the files. I hope we get all the information so that we can hold those responsible accountable.
It's stories about a lot of things. It's also about a set of rules for the rich and powerful and a different set of rules for everybody else. There are a lot of moments right now that are about that, but this certainly highlights it. A core of
the rich and powerful were his clients.
Shouldn't be about left versus right, but about top versus bottom. How do you see that all play out here?
Yeah, this is a prime example where those at the top, both people who are at the top of our economy and those who are at the top of our government, collude to help each other, and sometimes that means breaking the law. And so while the rest of us play by one set of rules, the rich and the powerful play by another. And I think Americans across the political spectrum are tired of this broken system, and they're ready to join together across partisan divides, racial divides, gender divides, religious divides, so that we can finally take power back for working people in Texas and across the country.
With a lot of these issues, I mean, whether it's Epstein or SNAP benefits, there are a lot we could talk about. There also seems to be a big overlap between the political and the moral. And this week, and when I saw
Here you go, Dad. Political versus moral.
America's Roman Catholic bishops released a rare and near unanimous statement rebuking the Trump administration's aggressive deportation campaign, something I think we've all been watching with horror now for months, and really framing it as strictly a moral issue. You're, of course, a seminary student, and faith is very integral to who you are and to your politics. How do you think about this overlap between the political and the moral in this moment we're living through right now?
Well, I'm a Presbyterian, but I am so proud of my Catholic brothers and sisters for stepping up in this moment. I'm particularly proud of the new Pope, Pope Leo, and how he has courageously spoken truth to power in this country. There's a question in Scripture right after Jesus teaches us Christians to love thy neighbor. and someone speaks up in the crowd and they ask, who is my neighbor? And to me, that is the profound question in this country and around the world right now. My neighbor is the child going to bed hungry tonight. My neighbor is the worker making poverty level wages right here in Texas. My neighbor is the mother kidnapped by masked men in unmarked vehicles off of our streets. And that is who I am called to love. And so my faith calls me from the sanctuary to the streets. It calls me to look after my neighbors, particularly those who are being attacked by the most powerful people in this country.
I think that's such an important reminder in this moment. It sometimes is hard to see through all of the struggles, all the political battles out there, and there's honestly a lot of the suffering out there too. And just remember that we're all people and we're neighbors and human beings, and it's important to take care of each other. James Tallarico, always a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for joining me tonight.
Thanks for having me.